all this baggage, adding on so much weight, yeah. Had me thinking that I was average, when you really don't play. How you gonna throw it away? How you gonna sit and act like it was nothing? Yeah. How you gonna throw it away? How you gonna make it so damn hard to explain? How you gonna throw it away and say my love and I was not the same? Yeah. How you gonna throw it away? Throw it away. Acting like this ain't nothing to you, is you dumb? Acting like you know, you got me gone. There's nobody now I see. You're only about yourself. This ain't energy. Wanna find somebody else, so why put up with this? Why did I even die? You said you hold it down forever, but you lied to me. Lied to me. You gotta remix in her head.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. Back here to do something I said I wasn't going to do, right? And that is talk about another Tyler Perry show that premiered last week on Netflix. The first 8 episodes of She the People, starting the Terry Vaughn, aka Levita Alizé Jenkins. Tyra, how are you today? And are you ready to get into it? Are you ready?
Great. I'm great. I know I was the one who was like, Ashley, some things, even if we aren't, looking at them from a favorable lens, they still deserve a little piece of a discussion of She the People. So I'm here and I'm ready to talk about it.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're ready, y'all. Yeah, let's just get into it
Oh,
without
just
further
dive into it.
ado. I mean, we always start here. So, Tyra, before we
Mhm.
get on into the thick of it all, I want to know, and I also want you guys to drop it in the chat as well. Let us know, what were your overall thoughts of the first half of this first season of She the People? Tyra, thoughts?
I mean, can I actually be here if I didn't watch the last 2 episodes just because I didn't want to? As quick as they were, it really felt like each episode was 10 minutes apiece, I swear. Um it was a very hard watch. I I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. There was shame, not to be had on my part, but I was like, oh, we have Black Hollywood and Black actresses and who we may consider, maybe alumni, more so vets, and even if they weren't in the biggest of productions, that they've been working really, really hard. And that they've been in the industry for years. And any moment that they can get some shine, it's a good moment. Especially their own show on a Netflix. So when I saw Terry here, Seti Bear, Alizé Jenkins, Levita Alizé the third, I was excited. I was really, really excited. I was like, oh, she looks so good. She like a day ain't went by. She's still the receptionist over there with Regina Greer. It looked great. And I was just hoping with the combination with her acting capabilities, especially in the comedic film, and then Tyler Perry, he's a lot of things. And even if you don't agree with the comedy, it's subjective. It's funny. It's something that I know probably got us into Tyler right off the bat because you met him through those plays and then you were excited for the films. But a lot of us spent a whole lot of time over there in the Meet the Brown, House of Pain, for better or worse type of streets. And if not for nothing, they're funny. So I'm like, okay, you know what? There is no reason why this shouldn't work. Maybe lowbrow humor is it going to be, the most fantastic things I've ever seen? No, but it couldn't possibly be that bad. It was that bad. It was that bad. It was very egregious to me. And I just couldn't fathom how any group of black minds came together and thought that this was the right thing to do. And if we were going to be offensive, be problematic, At best, just be funny. Can you just be funny? It wasn't even funny. And I couldn't get with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I ended up having to watch all of these episodes twice because I said I wasn't going to do it, but I couldn't keep it to myself and I had to get something together to pull something together for this live. So I went back through it. And what I will say after second watch, the last two episodes, it actually starts to get a little bit better. There's actually an improvement in the last two episodes of the show. But before that, I echo all of your sentiments. It's very lowbrow. And I too came into it like, oh, TP's been funny. Like he started funny. So that's a place we can kind of trust him in. You know, it's the dramas that go left field, right? But I'm like, he can do comedy. We watched the plays. We've watched those initial movies. It was funny. You know what I mean? Meet the Browns, like you said. I was definitely here for House of Pain because Lance was over there. My good friend Lance.
Alan Payne was over there too. Don't leave Alan out.
Oh, Alan was, but it
CJ
was
was over there.
Lance at the time until I became a grown woman. I'm a grown woman now. Now I can appreciate Alan, but then it was about that Lance Gross, okay? But yeah, but it was funny, you know what I mean? And it was like a kiki, and I could laugh at it once a week. And so I came into this really like, okay, Lavita Alizé Jenkins knows how to do comedy. Joe Marie Payton knows how to do comedy. I was like, TC Carson knows how to do comedy. Like, we've
Mhm.
got some people here that can potentially cook. But yeah, it missed me. I said, who is this? Like, not to take Tyra's phrase, who is this for? Like, who is your target demographic and audience with this? Because it just and I'm not going to denigrate anybody who likes it because a lot of people like, you know, adore Tyler and whatever he puts out, but for me, he could have done better. So let's go here. I want to know loves and hates. You see I have a plethora. I changed the font so it didn't look so unbalanced, but I will start out with the loves. Of course, I love to see a black actor working and getting paid their coin. I'm here for Miss Terry Vaughn, starring, leading, you know, a cast. Love that for her. And a crew was employed as well, because a lot of times we focus on the actors and we don't in the cast, and we don't focus on the crew and all the jobs that are actually provided in his, you know, week of filming, whatever, you know. Anyway, Kyle Barker was over here. Kyle Barker was over here. And I actually thought that a shining star on here that we haven't seen much from yet, unless you're on social media, was what's his name? Dejon Brooks as Basil. I liked
Mhm.
him over here. It was kind of refreshing to see a new phase. I don't know how I felt about his character, but I thought he delivered and I thought he was believable, and I want to see more from him. At least only two of the house staff was black. The indentured servants over there at the big house. Um, the premise is fine. Like, I think that this could have had potential to do something. I say here that the last two episodes started to pull it together at the end. And like I said, Terry J. Vaughn, Lavita Alizé Jenkins, and Joe Marie Payton and TC Carson were here. So those are, you know, some good things. What about you? What say you?
Girl, 'cause I didn't watch them. Like, I did a little double tap through them for this live. I was like, "Is that Kyle Barker? Is that Kyle Barker?" I was really, really happy to see him. I am so over black actors working in correlation with Tyler Perry. Ugh. I'm having a hard time swallowing the show because, and I was like, I need to be sure that I'm double checking all boxes getting into it. I don't know if you have some slides for it later. You can tell me if you do, but
I got slides for.
Tyler's name is on it,
Mhm.
but hmm, his name is on it, but this is a Lovita Alizé Jenkins Terry Vaughn affair. This is all her, and it's just so questionable to me what we got. Do you have a slide for that?
You could I for what exactly? You
For like just the project overhaul in the production, and overall in the production, as far as whose hands were in the pot to
No,
give
girl,
us
I didn't
what.
even look that up. No, ma'am. No.
Oh no, it's highly important here. I went to look because I was really curious, because I was like, Tyler does, comedy well. This is her baby. She has been pitching this show for almost 10 years. For almost 10 years. And for whatever reason, she's like, I just can't seem to get it off the ground. But as far as the writing, the premise here, this is all her. This is just produced and given to us by them Tyler Perry Studios. This is her baby, and she is hella proud. She was inspired by her a friend, I think a councilwoman or mayor of San Francisco, and that whole thing. She was like, "This is my version of Veep from a black woman's perspective." You remember Veep with
Dreyfus.
Dreyfus
I
over
think
there?
that.
Yeah, from
Mm-mm.
Seinfeld. She's like,
Julia
"Yeah, this is."
Dreyfus. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Said this is that, and it was so much pride in how she spoke about it, and like, in the midst of 20 years of my career, I have been trying to get my own show, and I finally got it, and she couldn't be more proud. But the tone, the premise, the writing, it's all her. I was like, oh, and of course she, has other writers on hand, like, some help. But this is her baby. I was very surprised. I was like, this had just Tyler written all over it, boy. But but she was just very happy that Tyler and the production, like, they understood the vision and really gave her a nice proposition. Like, we need to produce and give this show, and get it up in the air. Like, we want this. She's like, yeah, we went with Tyler, and I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. I was expecting to come over here and push Tyler on the ground. And this is not this is not a Tyler Perry affair. This is very much so Terry Vaughn, and something that she's been working on for a very long time, and she's very proud of it. I was like, okay.
It's still got
But
his name all over it in the credits. I know
yeah,
that
yeah,
much.
yeah,
Created, written, directed, produced,
yeah.
and they have someone else on there, Naya, and it has her listed as an EP. So that's super
Mhm.
interesting. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, this is mostly like her baby, her vision. This is her Black Lady Veep. So I just wanted to say that before we continued on.
Okay.
But
Well, there's that. Anything you
um
like about it?
I didn't like no no no. I didn't like anything. If you want to keep it 100, like, I can't keep coming over here to Tyler and give black folks working. Oh, we got Terry. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that. Black folks are working, but if you got Joe Marie Payton, Harry Winslow over there cussing up a storm with no dialogue and nothing else to do, I can't support you in that. I can say, like you said, with the actor who was playing Basil, or this young lady who I remember vividly from these YouTube streets.
Jade.
Um, yeah, with her Beyonce impersonations, like, it's nice to see these people elevate and get an opportunity. And of course, it's always nice to see Terry Vaughn or somebody like a Kyle Barker. Like, it's great to see these familiar faces and new ones, and to know that they are being supported in their projects. Like I just said, with this being her baby and something she's been trying to get off the ground for 7 years. But I didn't like anything about this. I
Okay.
thought I didn't like it. I'm sorry.
I would have waited for Mara. I would have waited for Mara Brock Keel or some other black comedy, right? Like I would have waited. Dane C, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I'm here to watch Tyra be a hater for 30 minutes. Okay, Don. We appreciate you. So let's get on over here to the hate side. Again, stereotypes and tropes were rampant within this first 8 episodes. The fashions were terrible. They were cheap. They were garbage. I said, you don't have a budget for fashions, Tyler. I know you have lot A, B, C, D, and E, and you got stylists over there. I don't think I've ever seen fashions be so egregious in the past in any of his productions. It didn't feel original to me. Everything felt like something I had seen before, just done far worse. You know what I mean? The pressure is getting worse. It's just terrible. I also didn't appreciate the presentation of it. I think this should have been more like a sitcom instead of like a serial comedy, the way it was presented. I don't know. It just didn't feel it didn't feel worth all that to me. It was very redundant. There were a ton of cheap jokes. The chemistry for me was not there. Like, especially, I don't know, the cast, especially in those first 6 episodes, I was like, is this really your mama? Is this really grandma, auntie? Is this really something for them kids? Are these really your children? Like, it didn't, for me, the chemistry didn't work. And it was a depiction that I didn't want to see done in this way. I feel like Jade Nove was wasted in this. She's so talented. I felt like they should have had her in a different capacity. Again, I love to see her work. And I feel like racism, sexism isn't funny. Deep rooted trauma and racism is never funny, and to me this was overly degrading. Like, it was degrading. Like, you have this Harvard educated woman who's supposed to be, well, we'll get into it. But yeah, I just it gave me the ick. That's probably the best way I can put it. Tyra hates.
I really hated the tone of the show. I really hated the tone. Like, I don't know. A lot of times you just watch things, it has to be pretty egregious in a way for me to focus so heavily on tone. I think this would have fared better as maybe a dramedy, or and I know that you can say that, and it's just like, well, just because we're getting into politics does it, or the White House of it all, doesn't mean that we have to go directly into drama territory. Don't we have enough of those shows? And we don't. Like, it does, everything does not have to be, scandal or whatever. And I understood, because I used to watch Veep, and I get the tone that they were going for, but it just didn't fit with the kind of the subject matter and the position that she's in contrast to these white counterparts. It just became, like you said, degrading, and I didn't find that funny. I didn't find any of that funny, like the Confederate type situation. I don't find that funny. I don't I don't know. I don't know. Um, the way you have Jade here and said that she was wasted, I'll say the same for I don't know the young man's name, but he betrayed Basil. I've seen them in action, especially him more recently on social media. These people are naturally charismatic and really funny and multifaceted, especially Miss Jade here. And she is kind of a jack of all trades. Like, utilize your people. The way we have her here, or have, an alum, a vet like Joe Marie Payton, who can give you vast of everything. But it's like, yeah, I want you to come here and be sugar mama and cuss. Um, okay. And then we also have Terry Vaughn here. Like, there was just wasted opportunities. There was a aesthetically, I'm not gonna harbor on it. The show did look,
Cheap. It looked
it had a
polyester seams out your suit, sis. Like, it was glaring. Like, why you got her in that? Like, y'all didn't have no budget for fashions.
I don't know why they didn't dress Sister Madam President down, but I don't know. Like, even with hair, makeup, clothes, like it felt very self-contained. Like, Jade is known for, these are their looks in general. I think it was just, yeah, throw this on and let's keep it rolling. I don't know what the budget was. Um I would have liked I would have liked for them to stretch this. Like she said, the tempo to where she even thought this needs to be a show with her friend and the hardships that she, being the first Black female mayor of San Francisco, this needs to be put out there. Like, this is some journey coming from, the streets of whatever, in this hard night life type situation. You brought yourself up to become this. And that is a story that needs to be told. But the way that we got it here, we had them old ass looking children. I didn't I just didn't I didn't enjoy that. The low hanging fruit, as far as the comedy, I can get with a cheap joke here or there. I expect cheap jokes from Tyler Perry. Like, I'm not expecting any like situational awareness and just like the most brilliant comedy I've ever heard. But there's always been like an up and down. It was no up and down to where it's like, okay, that was a cheap joke. That wasn't really funny, but that was freaking hilarious. Like, do more of this. Nothing was hilarious, like really made.
I think she got paused, y'all. Yeah, but there wasn't a ton of dynamic with the with the jokes. To me, they were all lowbrow. Like, and again, I'm not a
It's just
fan of
really,
like the.
really, really.
Oh, you're back, girl. You was frozen for a whole 2 minute, a whole minute. So I had just started talking,
Was I? No, don't get
but you
me
were talking about
started.
the joke. You
I
were
don't
talking
know.
about the jokes. Or something.
Yeah, they were just cheap. I just needed more of kind of like an up and down as far as the comedic material, to where, okay, if that was low hanging fruit, like really, give me something here. It was just all very cheap, and I know I feel like they could execute something better than that. I just wanted a little bit more from the show as far as just the tone and the pacing. I felt like it was a premise that we were stretching out. That was probably a little film, but we made it an entire show, and it just didn't feel like enough was happening to evolve from episode to episode.
Yeah, there wasn't, and I think that's Tyler Perry. You can go a whole 52 episodes in a season, and it only be a week that passed in Tyler's world. We've seen it in his dramas, right? But easing on down the road to these stereotypes, because they're like, who? I know somebody will be in the comments eventually at some point. What stereotypes are you talking about? The strong black woman who doesn't know her own strength. Gosh, like we've seen it over and over and over again. I'm a strong black woman. I'm a single black mama raising these disrespectful children. I have a lax black father who isn't that bright, clearly, because why would you drop that little girl off at the house and just trust what comes out of her mouth? She looked like she'd been hell, that daughter. Um, Ghetto bestie with a heart of gold, right? Shamika.
Hmm.
And I'm good and I got you, girl, and you're gonna be my chief of staff, and don't have any clue what a being a chief of staff is. You're well spoken for a black. The whole good old boy narrative, where they are, and not to say that doesn't exist, but listen, this is not. It wasn't funny. Sit down, gal. Did I tell you could sit down? Okay, you can get up. Good girl. Good girl. It was overkill to me in that department. Black indentured servitude. We've seen it all before. I don't know if we needed to see Massa's house and all of that. Tyra, any stereotypes you want to add to the list or expound upon? Because there were a lot. There's probably more than I had listed here.
We definitely didn't need to see old master's house. I didn't like that. I also didn't like, I felt like we were maybe getting away, because Meet the Browns was Meet the Browns, but we know that Brown was in the flashy clothes. It's very, old school ornery behavior. I don't want to say the word. I don't know what you say it, but it's callbacks to Jim Crow type comedy. Like, yes, I don't know. I don't know. Are you gonna give me some soft shoe next? I don't know what's gonna come. The loud suits and the I don't know. I don't know why we have to surround her. If she's trying to be a figure in power, we need to surround her with ghetto loud. We don't really, but we got your back. Like, there's a way to still kind of generate that feel of, I haven't lost where I've come from, and I still want my people around me when I get into a position of power, because I want to make sure my back is had. I can't trust these people around here. I need these people here. But let's at least make them accommodating, make them worth having. Do your job. Like, this just, I'm just here and I'm cute and I don't do nothing. I'm really not smart. Like, I'm just what I don't know. I don't know. I just expected a little bit more. The mother trope of the single black struggling strong. Tyler's gonna put that there. Somebody's gonna put that there. I don't think you can get nothing greenlit unless it's somewhere, because it just seems to run rapid through the productions. I think what really like set me aside is when she is actually introduced to the mayor, and it's the back and forth to where she's belittled as a black woman, and they have her like, it's set as a bit, but we have her going and doing all of these frivolous things that are degrading, and it's like, I'm going to take it because I have to, and I don't really know. And at times it's like they really wanted to show that she was, a Harvard educated, blase, blase. But in other times she was just falling in line and just kind of waiting. And I could see how that could be realistic, but the way that mayor was doubling down, or even the team around him was doubling down on the good girl type of behavior, good black, stay in your place, do what you're supposed to do, and you're here. Like, I didn't need so much of that, and I don't find that funny. No.
Yeah. I don't know who found that funny or who it was supposed to be funny to. But again, the premise is Antoinette Dunkerson is running for lieutenant governor of the great state of Mississippi. She will have to contend with the good old boy infrastructure while trying to maintain her values and stand strong. And like I said, I'm not mad at the premise. I think if it had been well developed, there could have been something there. I think it could have cooked. I just think you need more people in the room. I think you need people to run things by. I think you need professional comedy writers. I think you need a team. I think you need a team of talented creatives to make something happen. And here's just kind of a timeline of what happened over these first 8 episodes. And again, this is just the first half. If you loved it and it was amazing to you, the second half will be out in August. So just, for the people who are waiting with bated breath. But again, we're running for office. She goes viral. She wins the election, moves into the big house, acclimates, further embarrassment and degradation, gets it together, hires a new staff, and ultimately speaks up, and her words unalive the governor. Okay. So in a nutshell, that's what happened in these first 8 episodes. But let's break them down here. So starting out, bad parenting and campaigning. We have the oldest, astest kids doing the absolute most. Because why are you sneaking out trying to go to this party on a weekday? Like, what are we doing? She is only 16, looking 26. These are my notes, literally, as I went back through these episodes today. I said the son is elderly too. That's a 39-year-old man, single mom, clueless ex-husband. We got drugs in the car, and a public beatdown because she ends up going upside the girl's boyfriend at the party because he says, "Get behind me. She's coming home with me." And the little girl says, "I'm not going anywhere with you." And I want to know, what have you been doing for these 16 years of this little girl's life? And what was this to show us? You've been focusing on being a councilwoman, going to Harvard and all these things, but you haven't been focused on being a mom. Tyra, talk to me about bad parenting and the campaign.
Oh, girl. I, uh, I don't know whose goddamn white baby is that? Whose old ass kids are these? That was one thing that was very distracting. But I was trying to get into the premise here. First of all, you lost me. Never open your show with Joe Marie Peyton Carson like that. Don't do that. That
Oh,
took me out
no.
immediately. I was
Lord.
checked out. I was like, all right, I know what we're here for. There was that. I would have really liked for us to dive into um if they wanted to do like this type of comedy and it's lowbrow, okay, well, have her do that to where I don't have voters, especially black voters in this county, interested in me until I show, my whole ass on camera and I'm violent and I'm hitting and I'm doing this and I'm displaying certain things as a black. Oh, I want to slap the shit out of these kids too. I'm voting for her. Like, why does it take that for me to get some shine?
Give it up.
We could have, like, went there, but it's just kind of like, oh, I'm in office and I'm getting the votes, and it's just very, very quickly. This useless ex-husband, like, we could have did without that. Child, she could have just been a widow. She could have just been a widow. We didn't really need that. He serves absolutely no purpose. We just needed to have a man there to know that, she was cheated on once upon a time and did wrong, and now she, like, we didn't need that. It did absolutely nothing. He was there for no reason at all. The teenage risque rebellious daughter trope, we're gonna get it. It gets old every single goddamn time, and it's not my favorite thing. But here I needed to be just above me wanting to punch you in your damn face, and she crossed the line. I would have snatched the hoe up, but that's just me. That's just me. But I could understand, where the show was going and what we were getting. But I wish that we had kind of dived into. I just wish this show was a little bit more grounded. I think it would have helped between Jo Marie Payton and when we have her doing kind of the news interview, and it's just very like, oh, that's not the way a real newscaster speaks. So clearly, this show is. It almost felt like parody, and I was like,
Mhm.
well, the tone was just really, really off. I didn't. It felt like kind of like a Saturday Night Live skit, and I didn't like that too much. But it let me know exactly the type of show we were getting.
Yeah. And I get it. In comedy, you are allowed to be expressive, and it's kind of one of the only genres where caricature is welcome. But I think it's kind of you look at the climate and you look at your material and you look at context for it to see if it's going to land with who your base and who your audience is. I honestly haven't looked for anyone's reviews on this because honestly, I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I feel like I am perpetually raining on somebody's damn parade when it comes to this. But y'all, if it's not good, it's just, oh, it's just not good. So now we are here to the next level, and I'm waiting, y'all, so I can see whatever the title of this slide is because I can't see behind the little thing. What does it say, Tyra? Can you see it?
You say the title of the slide? This elected, then seated, govern?
By the lieutenant governor. Okay. So that was kind of like the next thing. So she's in office. She's been elected because of this viral moment, not because of her education or her prowess as a councilwoman, which in Darfalina, I get it. It is kind of realistic because a lot of people have viral moments that put them on. But I think in government, especially, there should be more to it. And especially as an accomplished Black woman, I would have wanted to see her accomplishments kind of take front and center. Like, no, she's got the acumen, she's got the talent, she's fully aware. Like, what really like got up my crawl is as I'm sitting here watching this, I'm like, do you even know you're running for this office, but you're acting like you don't even know the guidelines, the policies, procedures to be in this office. Like, you're sitting here looking like you're confused. They're coming spewing this stuff at you when they didn't elect you, Buki. Like, you don't work for the governor himself. You work for the
That's
people.
what it is. That's okay. I know where we at. It just came to mind. That's where we are. I think that was my discontent with the show because we have her here wanting to be in politics, wanting to be, highly educated and well versed. Like, you're qualified for the job. The tone of this show is very Chris Rock, head of state. Y'all remember what was that with Eddie Murphy when he's in politics and he just winds up in
Oh,
the White House?
distinguished gentleman.
Yeah, it's very that. It's like she's not qualified. Like, I just, lucked up and got here. That's why I wanted to have her elaborate. Well, hell, what about all of, my education, my background, things that I have done to get to this position? I appreciate this viral moment, but it was just like she was surprised, like, oh, I'm just happy that I'm getting here and I'm gonna get this opportunity. But hopefully we're gonna, interject and kind of shift it back to what I'm really here in the office for. And it just came off like she wasn't qualified, so I didn't get that part.
Yeah, that's the part that kind of got in my crawl because I'm like, girl, you should know this inside out. You know, we got to be twice as good. You heard Papa Pope on Scandal. We got to be twice as good. And if you went to Harvard, you know that. I think there's some like kind of things that should be implicit based on, how she kind of came up through the ranks. Her real review, hey, Quanta girl, I didn't mind she won because of the viral moment, but when she got in office, she should have been more prepared to handle some of the situations. Harvard is full of good old boys, as is
Yeah.
every Ivy League institution, or most listen, most institutions in the country are full of good old boys. So yeah, I totally agree. Linton, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, y'all. It goes so far, and we thank you so much. Hey, ladies, did y'all see that Tyler, his company, and Terry Vaughn are being sued by a nonprofit, saying series infringes on the nonprofit's brand identity and political advocacy work? No,
No.
girl. I
Oh,
ain't been down in
Lord.
Yeah, you need to drop that article link in the Discord so I can look into it. I didn't know that. I don't want nobody to get sued, but listen, watch.
Oh, not at all. We ain't here for that.
You gotta watch though, because what is you doing? Did you get inspired? by somebody's work in the city? Like, but again, elected, then seated lieutenant governor. How are you the strong black woman and you also the sit down and shut up woman? Because the way
Yeah.
she acquiesced to everything he said, it was like, yes, sir, master boss. Yeah, I'm right on top of that, Rose. Like, it gave all of that. I said she's Harvard educated but acted delayed. All of the worst stereotypes. Who moved the family in? Who moves the family in? Like, I get your kids, but you trying to get your mama. Your mama not coming because she say her man can't come. You have this cousin Shamika and the driver Basil, who is not really your kin. So I'm really confused about how we're bringing them all to our first day of work at the Capitol. Then you're also trying to move all of them in. Anyway, shucking and jiving while being disrespected. Sit around and wait for the governor to die. Really, only a figurehead. The whites don't talk to me directly. Must be a good girl. Further denigration of her accomplishments, because I think at the end of this kind of scene or episode, we hear them, what did she do? She probably went to a community college. She probably went to one of those online schools, and Basil overhears the conversation and steps in. It just, in the world of politics, it doesn't make sense. You know this black woman's coming in. She's from an opposite party. You would have done your due diligence on her. You would know everything about her, top to bottom, to know how you can control her if that's really the narrative that we're going to push. I just feel like they said we can do anything and the people are going to watch. I think that's what they're leaning on. And I hate that because we're smarter than that. Tyra, elected then seated.
They elected to not give anybody any depth. Like I like a good old boy trope just as much as the next person, but give them some dimension. And I know we're asking for a lot. I almost forgot who this show came from. That's asking a lot, but a little bit goes a long way. It was just very. We got exactly what we expected, so there was nowhere to go with the story. Um, I don't know why we chose to have her be both things at the same time, to where she could be a Harvard grad, but also be. I don't want to say stupid.
Delayed.
Um, it just came off like she was uneducated. It's like I manipulated. Now this would have worked totally different. Like I said, if this was head of state, distinguished gentleman, I looked up and manipulated my way into this position. Now I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like we're on the fly, on the cuff. Well, I don't know, make something up. Like, no, baby, you got here. So I was really, what I was really here for. I don't know if it's this episode or not. That moment where it looked like she was gonna fire the cousin. And it's like, well, now that I'm here, like, I love you, but I have to set a certain standard for myself and portray certain things, not even in a political sense, but I need someone here who can do their damn job. You've gotten me this far, and I love you as a family member, but you and Basil have to move around. What you're not going to do is attach your man to me. Like, no, this isn't, it's unprofessional. And I thought it was going to be like, I'm moving you out. Even if I were to bring you on, like, shape up or ship out, like, there was just like, no, we need this trope here. I thought there was going to be more to Jade's character, and it was going to be like, well, I could be this, but I'm also, I'm also pretty brilliant at the same time. It was just like, no. So to see this woman in this position surround herself with, imbeciles for the most part, it was like, like, how do you expect anybody to take you seriously? But okay. The you said shucking and jiving while being
Shucking and jiving is what I said. Shucking
and
jiving.
I could even understand, not so much shucking and jiving, but I could understand the narrative of I'm new here, I am educated, but there is a need to maybe make myself feel small or diminish some of the things I'm willing to do to work this position because I only have so much power and I just got it. I thought we were going to have her kind of like, okay, I'm doing this outwardly. I'm doing these things that you're telling me, but I'm also going to manipulate these things in my favor. I'm going underhanded. I'm not going to be in this position, for long. You may think that I'm shucking and jiving and go along, but I'm Harvard educated, and I know why I'm here and what I want to do and what I came to do, and I'm going to make sure I accomplish those things, even if you think I'm over here shucking and jiving and squealing like a pig. On the low, I'm doing this in plans to service our people. Like, it was just like, she was just doing them. I was like, well, where are we going to go? I think I just kept waiting per episode for us to kind of get to the okay, girl, we're in there. You know what this is. You would think she would know what it is. Like you said, she's been around plenty of good old boys, but it was just like, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it. Like there's I like even moving into, the slave plantation. It's just like I'm not living here. Like there was just no pushback. It was just all acceptance. So I didn't know what we were supposed to feel or do with her character.
Yeah. And again, like I said, I really feel like the last two episodes are kind of head and shoulders above the rest because that's where we're finally getting. But it takes us 7 episodes for us to get like maybe I need a plan. Maybe I need to surround
Yeah.
myself with people who can actually help me. And I think should have been something, maybe by second, third episode. Like if we're gonna go down this road, like I think we should have arrived there sooner because that's when you're like, okay, this is starting to make sense. We've got a little bounce back. I've got somebody behind me. We got a plan and a strategy now, right? It just took too long for us to get there. So now, honey, we are on the plantation. I just more disrespect, of course, though, first, and living on the plantation. This is where you squeal like a pig, boy. Squeal like a pig. We had to watch that bootleg gymnastic situation. We got to pat our weave, or not even our weave, our locks, because Jay doesn't have a weave. She has, I was like, why is she doing, why? And the gum chewing, sidelined, homie hookup for Basil, because at this point we need to have the real security detail come in. Basil, you can't be the driver. The house the Confederacy built, with all of the staff and the butler who really is giving the butler. I was like, what are we doing here, and why does he have this? The house is his. You can't change anything. No, we're not going to remove the Confederate rug. We're not going to remove the pillows. This is the house that the Confederacy built. Learn to love it. Yeah, this didn't speak to me at all. The kids like, oh, look at that painting. Look at this. Look at that. Yeah, the governor. That's my daddy. He was, whatever. And if you didn't act right, he would beat you. Like, what are we doing? Since when are slave jokes funny? Like I didn't need any of this, Tyra. More disrespect in living on the plantation now. Moving on in.
I just knew she wasn't going to move in there. I was like, okay, because it seems like, well, no, it not even seems like. I think because you watched it twice, bless you.
Mhm.
I think when she gets there, they're like, okay, she won't last long. We're going to get her the hell out of here. Just give us some time. So I think that they're strategically doing these things to run her off. Like, how much is she going to take? I didn't think that she was going to, run off, but I thought that, okay, this is where she's going to draw the line and go, hell no. I'm not living in this degrading ass space. Like, what are you trying to say about me in my position here? If you want me to live here with my damn children, it was just like, come on, guys, it's all right. We're gonna throw some things around. It's like, no, you can't redecorate either. You have to live here and see these things every day when you wake up. It's just like, okay. I think I don't know why that pig squealing really pissed me off. That really pissed me off. That was about the point where I was like, okay, I don't think I can take anymore. I just it was the chanting from the all white crowd, like, come on, gal, squeal, squeal, squeal. Like I was like, why? I didn't like it. And it just kept kind of running over to real life because I know how I don't know all that Terry Vaughn has done in her career, but I know she's not a black actress in general that we see most often. So it just felt like it was crossover, like we're squealing like a pig, the opportunity, and then we're squealing like a pig on the damn show for these whites. I just didn't like it. I was like, get her out of there. Get Terry out of there and give her some damn work. We shouldn't be having to squeal like a pig for work. I didn't like how it was making me feel, along with the generic push back and forth that she was getting from her daughter. That was it was kind of supposed to correlate into her also being a people pleaser and a motivator. Baby, you're doing good. I mean, meanwhile, she's trash. It's like, yeah, you have to let that go, not only with your daughter, but in this political space, if you want to excel and be the politician we know you can be. I got it, but it was trash. And stop padding your weave, please.
Please, please, please. De Niro, hey, hope you're having a good night. He says, I agree with y'all, but y'all acting like this isn't another Tyler Perry production. Exclamation point, exclamation point. You know he needs help and women writers. We do, De Niro, but it's still something we got to talk about and address. Like I said, I feel like they picked up in the last two episodes. I really do. But again, that was after my second watch. I shouldn't have to watch this twice in order to laugh or like I don't know. I'm becoming disenfranchised. Honestly, this is something I never wanted to talk about. If Tyra hadn't said, maybe we should just try it because just try, I really would have left this in the ground where I found it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to discuss it.
But we
Um,
watched it, Ashley. Like, don't let them views them all the and it's
and she froze up, y'all. You back? You back, Tyra? I hear you, but you're frozen.
yes, I did.
Okay, you're back now. Okay. You had cut out at the last part of whatever you said. You said, but Ashley, we do need to talk about it. Is that what you were saying? You cut out.
No, I was just saying like the no, I was saying like we can't let those yeah, like we watched this.
We
Let's
did.
use it. We watched it.
She said, we put in this man hours. We need to use it. And we do. And we need to start doing that with everything. If we watch it, we should talk about it because the time was spent. But now easing on down the road to Freaknik and other scandals, bad land deals, trying to set our girl up to be a part of some criminal activities with the pastas, has a cause now. The pipeline in the poorest neighborhoods. We fired the driver, honey, because we thought he wrote us a love note, and that love note was for somebody else, child. And are y'all saying that that's really her husband, the guy who was her head of security driver? That's her husband in real life? Drop that in the comments for me. Terry Vaughn's body is tea. I just had to throw that in there because that is a pro. That is a pro of the show because when she's on that car at the Freaknik dancing, when I say it's ab attack over there. And Terry J. Vaughn ain't no spring chicken, honey. She not some 30-year-old little whippersnapper. So I love that this body is bodying. But again, everything else is unraveling. They're sending letters out in her name, and she's so angry. She's got to fire someone. So why not fire the driver who she thinks wrote her a love letter? Again, you're a hood chick, Shamika. So we actually finally have the conversation with cousin Shamika. You're a hood chick. You cool. And you're my bestie and I love you. But at the end of the day, you're a hood chick. Now, this is actually when we start to see the turn and we actually start to see something happen in terms of plot, right? Because now she's being rolled up into some bad land deals that are going to disproportionately affect underserved in our poorest communities, and she's not going to stand for that. So it took everything else she was going to deal with, but when it came to this, I can't do this because I need to be there for my constituency. And this is when we start to see a shift in the narrative. Tyra, talk to me about Freaknik and other scandals because we got to use the Freaknik.
Of course, of course. I was just happy that something was happening here. This is when I really was hovering on, even though like a lot of the comedy was lowbrow and tired, I was like, a lot of this could have really been a pacing issue. I think if some of these things were happening quicker, then so many people may have not, checked out like the first or second, like, okay, I'm not Terry Von's character. I don't want to, take this for multiple episodes. These are the things that we needed to happen sooner than they did. And not even like it was something brilliant happening. It was just like it's something happening, and it felt organic to how she would feel or think as the character, as the position that she's in. It was befitting and it made sense. While everything else was just kind of like, was it grand old funny? Because remember, this is supposed to be funny. No, but It was, it was something happening, and I really wish that it was funny. It would have been nice to see her. It would have been nice to see a black woman Veep. I'm actually kind of here for that. Like, and it gives a whole different narrative with the Veep, because y'all know, if you watched it, it gives it a whole different meaning. So it would have been cool. I don't keep wanting to throw them over there in the get over there in the drama. Just make it a drama, make it hard hitting. We need intense. Like, no, it could have worked, but I was like, something's happening and these things are logical, which is tired to say. Like, that's what we were looking forward to. That's what we got here. It wasn't much, but it was something to let me know that maybe getting into the second part, it may be more
Focus. Yeah.
focused. Or I don't want to say like better or like really good, because I doubt it's going to get there. It's not going to do a 180 overnight, but I think it'll be more digestible to the audience to go, oh, okay, now things are finally happening, and we're really getting into her character and what she wants to do as a politician, instead of these dummy, crash dummy missions that they're sending her on.
Lord. Yeah. It's so. I'm hoping. Like I said, the last couple episodes were good, and that's this final slide here. Massa is dead, Tyra. Massa is dead.
Girl.
Shady women senators again, and I'm like, dang, are these the new blacks? Like, what happened? What happened to community and embracing our sister who has now arrived in this position? It was like, girl, you can't do nothing for us. Like, I believe one of the senators was like, "Oh no, don't do that. Let's talk to her. Let's get to know her." But the others were very like, "Governor, I need to speak with you. She don't have no power." Like, girl, what? This ain't even going. You don't even have a budget. Like, what are you doing? Took 7 episodes to get a strategy and her staff. Kyle Barker enters the chat, aka TC Carson, who I adore because he is a consummate professional and he's going to show up and show out in everything he is, whether it was living single, whether it was Greenleaf, if you saw him over there, anything I see him in, even in a small capacity, he shines. Like TC Carson, he's him. We have a new team on deck. We also got old girl from Why Did I Get Married? There, you a hoe need a pimp like her, right? She's over there. She's part of the new staff. She ain't got no real power, and the governor reminds her of that. Remind me of the woman who raised me. She is surprisingly articulate for a black, and we're doing all this for the colored of the community. Black women speak up and men croak. That was the final messaging I got from this. When a black woman asserts herself and speaks up, men die.
Die.
That's what happens. Because what the hell? She finally lets him know what it is. She gets on the platform and she's like, no, I don't agree with that. No, I'm not going for this. She finally makes a stand, draws a line in the sand, confronts him. He thinks it's his indigestion, honey. This man is having a whole heart attack. Don't nobody call the police. The ambulance. And he falls out because she's not going to be a good gal anymore and do what he says. Like I said, this is when it really started to get somewhere. She kind of constructs this plan with her lawyer friend who's now going to be her new chief of staff, and is like, file a court order because they can move this road 2 miles up and it won't encroach on any of the impoverished community, XYZ. She's really got a strategy and a team now that's behind her who's going to
Yeah.
be able to help her. And we actually get to see her cut loose. And this is probably one of my favorite parts because we get to see her actually interacting with a group of her peers who are all educated, like-minded, and we can have a kiki. Like, it can be cute and it can be funny and we can have a moment. Like I said, as soon as TC's on the screen, you have comic relief because Basil, don't play with me. Like, who you think you are? Like, very much chemistry changed, dynamic changed. Like I said, that's the only reason I can kind of be a little bit optimistic going into the second portion, because now I know, okay, this is our cast. We're here, and I'm excited for that dynamic. Tyra, I know you didn't get all the way here, but I hope this made it clear what happened. Because
No, I breezed through some of it. I was irritated. I was irritated, and I know we should by now expect with Tyler shows to be set, for things to just be run on, like I said, even with something like Beauty and Black, as ridiculous as that show is, something's always happening. Something's always happening over the top and just insane, but something's happening to keep me there, and it's unintentionally funny. But there wasn't enough happening here for me to solicit waiting around for 7 episodes. I was like, well, hell, maybe that's, I was like, this is your show. This was your show. We didn't need all that mess before. We could have started with him dying. We could have started with him croaking, and we could have moved from there. I actually didn't mind the whole narrative of like, she ain't got no power. Like, let's speak to the governor. Like, it be your own people.
Our own people,
What would he
child.
say in Sinners? It be your own.
Yeah.
Let me in there. Let me in there. Pay my money. It be your own people. Like, I wasn't so
Corporate.
surprised at that, because those are some of the first that'll dismiss and diminish you, because we are skin folk. You couldn't possibly do anything for me. Let me get to the top. I didn't mind that things were making sense and clicking. Now, baby Cal Barker, that's, look, you already know. You already know. If he would have sung some Honeysuckle Rose, I would have fell
Listen,
out. Okay.
Valentine, don't play with me.
I would have fell out, okay? But I was very happy to see. I'm like, ooh, okay, here we go. And that's where it comes in when you have some talent here. And it goes for the majority of the cast here. When you actually give them substance and something to do, they're going to shine. They didn't have anything to do for 7 episodes, so it drug and it was dragging. I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna make it to the end? And then you get to the end and it's just like, oh, something's happening, and now we gotta wait however goddamn long for the other 8.
2 months, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I feel like this was the show, and kind of more on par with what I was waiting for, even with it being Tyler Perry, with it being Terry Vaughn and the narrative of the show. I more so expected something like this. All of the other things that ever happened before we got here, I didn't expect that, and that's really what I didn't want. We need less of that and just more of this, because this is your show. We trying to get into Madam Sister President. We trying to get over there. So it's like, now that this man is dead, the show can really start. But you're taking your audience for granted per usual. Because it's like, whatever, it don't matter what it is. If I slap my name on it, they're going to watch it because I'm Tyler Perry and I have a really great fan base. Aren't y'all happy to see Terry Vaughn? Aren't y'all happy to see black actors working? Who cares about the writing and the flow and the pacing and all that? Just watch it. And yeah, it wasn't even funny. That's all I wanted. I just wanted it to be entertaining and be funny. It could be as lowbrow and just as dumb as it wanted to be, even down on them plantation streets. I just expected it to be funny, and it just wasn't. It was really tired. And then I think it was the diminishment of the black woman and the degrading things that really turned me off. But if we go into the additional episodes and it's more with this, I think we'll find more success, and it'll be a lot more entertaining than that first 7.
I agree. Like I said, I'm hopeful for there because I agree. I feel like this is the show, like, and I feel like this is what we needed because then I think we can accommodate for the Wild Style family because we have this as her base and our core, and then we can believe that she is this character that they're saying she is, that she is this educated, powerful councilwoman who understands her role in government and really wants to work for the people. Like, and I still think we can have a kiki, right? I still think it can be funny because what I will say, as far as comedic acting, we know TC Carson is a veteran.
Yeah.
We know Jo Marie Payton is a veteran. We know
Mhm.
Terry Vaughn is a veteran. But again, have seen them all in ensemble casts where everyone's talented and they're playing off of each other. So now that hopefully we'll get more scenes with all of them,
Yeah.
it'll work. But yeah, y'all would never have Harriet Winslow out here like that. It's a travesty. It
That's
really
I think that was my biggest gripe, because we had them here and they just didn't have anything to do. Because it's not due to like lack of talent. We're never going to say that these people, we've seen them for years. We've seen, so we know what they could do. And I think it was like such a stark difference when TC showed up. Even he is our fave, but just the capability and the acting that was being displayed, and just the little crumbs that he was dealt to do anything with. It's different when you give them to a TC Carson versus, a Jade or the young man portraying Basil. I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make something shake. So it's also about whose hands it's in. But if you just give Jo Marie cussing and I whooped ass back in my day, like, let's not make her Bam or any of the other, those other characters that we,
Yeah.
Cora, we've seen that. Give us new characters. I think that's my like issue. These are, even though Terry is saying, this is from her viewpoint and the writing, and this is something I wanted to put out there 7 years, and this is my baby. I'm so happy about it. These felt like iterations of different Tyler Perry characters that we've seen over the years. And I just want to know, like, how much of it was her and how much what was, did he or the staff or writer that they have? Because it feels very over there with Tyler. So I would just expect that we can bring it on home and just give our actors something to do.
Yeah. And Critical, I've been seeing you in the chat, and she was or Critical is basically saying, after 6 AAA, I really thought he was on an upswing and going to bring, taking some time to bring something more, right? Like an upward direction is what she says to Lynn. And I kind of separate in my mind Tyler's dramatic work versus his comedic work. And I don't really put them in the same place. So honestly, like, I thought he just could do comedy and like it wasn't going to be a forced or like, you know what I mean? I thought there would have been an ease with which he executed this. And like I said, like Tyra said, it's not always the most clever, of comedy or smart comedy, but most of the time it's been funny in the past. And the fact that this just wasn't funny, I don't know. And then, Straw is out, I think, in the next couple weeks or so, the one with
Mhm.
Taraji. That's going to be a dramatic film. I believe he's got another series coming out with Divorced Sisters. That'll be out. He's got some other projects. I mean, he's inked deals with every streaming network at this point. Prime, Netflix, BT Plus, like he's everywhere. So we're gonna see more. And I don't know. He said he did Straw in 4 days. So I wouldn't put my expectations anywhere. I would leave my expectations down here and hope that he just happens to exceed them. You know what I mean?
Girl,
'Cause girl.
Raw is clearly John Q in a different font, which is fine. It's fine. Or what is that, breaking it? I don't know what that was with John Boyega with the bank situation. It's his Dog Days Afternoon type situation. I don't expect anything from Tyler except for what we're getting, and it's also a financial and a public thing as far as what his audience expects and who supports him the most. When Tyler puts out a 6 888 or a Jasmine's Blues or something that may have a different tempo and be, have some depth and it's a little highbrow, it doesn't get as much fanfare or support as the other things. So it's like I can, I can only give so much. I'm going to give you these, but you're also going to get She the People. You're also going to get Medea's Destination Wedding or whatever. You have to get these things. This is cute, but those are the things that keep the lights on at the studio. So I'm not even mad at him. This is what the people support.
Yeah. Rico says TC Carton is Kratos, the god of war. Put some respect on his name. Always. We love TC Carson. We would never disrespect him. He's a veteran. He's a king. Jewel So Real. We have already watched, I think, the first 3 or 4 episodes of The Better Sister. Um, I
Yes,
don't
please.
know. Maybe we have invested time in that one already. So we might bust it out. I know it just released what either last night or today on Prime Video. If you haven't watched it, it's starring Jennifer Beal is over there in them whodunit streets. But Tyra, anything else you want to say about She the People before we get out of here? Anything you want to let the people know that's coming
She
up?
done. She done. She's done. They're done. I'm done. Um Well, immediately following this, we will be joining Nikki, King Nikki TV, for you guys who support us on the regular and you're familiar. She is doing a short film. She is trying to create her own short film, and we're going to discuss some of those things with her and also try to see who wants to support her in that ambition and have like a whole little fundraiser situation following this. Tomorrow, if you haven't seen it, the links are up. Be sure to cut on your notifications for the collective news. We're gonna, get into some news, and I would love to have you guys there, following the After that, our Saturday watch along, we get into school days. So if you're not a member, you missing out because we're gonna be singing. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna should. We're gonna be singing school days. So be sure be sure you're there for that. And of course, Sunday is going to be a binge day, and we're binging some good old gangster movies and gangsters with guns. So be there for that. I'm sure that's going to be a hot bloody mess.
Lord, be there or be square, you guys. A ton of stuff coming up, so make sure you're there. I believe the live with Nikki is 9 or 9:15 Eastern Standard tonight. So make sure you're there because the time will go by just like that. But thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate you guys so much. We got almost to 100 people tonight, which it's Tyler, I guess. So thank you guys so much for always coming through, always supporting, and always keeping the chat super lit. If you're not a member, consider a membership. Like Tyra said, our Blockbuster movie nights are for members only. Or just join the collective in general. The collective is absolutely free over in the Discord, and it's a good time, honey. They cut up over there in the collective. But thank you guys so much as usual, and we will see y'all in the next
Taking on
video.
all this baggage, adding on so much baggage. Had me thinking that I was average when you're really the plan.